Nigga buck in the club like fuck that shit. Got my tone in the club like fuck that shit.
Episode 25 Marc, the divorce. Marc was feeling especially light-hearted today. All seems to be right at work. His boss liked his propositions made for optimizing the customer experience and adding a few more payment methods to the Omni channel. He was back in the saddle with these new ideas, which were bringing him closer to that juicy promotion that he's been waiting for a couple of years already. Besides, he finished off early today with the meeting he had outside of the office, and since there was no reason for him to come back to the office, he headed home straight away. I might take my beautiful wife out for dinner. Maybe we can catch a late night movie, and maybe, I might be getting lucky. Marc was thinking to himself, and even blushed at the thought of having sex with his wife. Well, he kept thinking, I still know how it's been done, right? He instinctively looked down in hope of a reaction, and yep, he was not mistaken. There was a small bump. Ha, you see. He smiled to himself and sped up his pace. He liked the plan he'd just created and was eager to get it started. For that reason, he has to go home as soon as possible. I am one lucky bastard. I have everything I need. What else could I want? Entering home, all seemed too quiet. Of course, kids are still at school and the kindergarten. It's normal to be that quiet. I've totally forgotten. Kids are out. Maybe I could get lucky sooner. He smiled to himself while taking off his shoes. He listened more attentively as he wanted to figure out where his wife was so that he can start walking at that direction. He couldn't hear anything though. It was so silent that he could hear his heartbeat. He headed to the bedroom with the intention to undress. Then he heard noises. He turned his head around to see if the noises were coming from behind. Nope, they were coming from straight ahead. He kept walking slowly and the noises were growing louder. Someone was really breathing heavily. There was a funny noise too, as if it was their bed creaking. His heart began pounding. Those were becoming very familiar noises. Noises he thought to have forgotten. Noises that used to be so sweet to him. Her noises. She used to make those for him. Then he saw what he never thought he would see. She was indeed making those noises, but because of someone she is being on top of. In his terror, or not believing his eyes, Marc must have just pushed the door wide open. As she turned towards him, their eyes met. He thought she almost winked at him. Marc felt that the earth was no longer supporting him. He was crushed. Falling to his knees, he hid his face in his hands and started crying. He couldn't stop himself. Tears were just running down his face. His chest was violently going up and down in a vain effort to gasp a breath. What the fuck are you doing, Marc? She raised her voice as if irritated he interrupted her. Who told you to come home so early? What time is it, Marc? Haven't I told you always to call when you plan popping up like that in the middle of the day? What were you thinking, huh? She kept pouring words on Marc while he was on his knees, not hearing her at all. He was only seeing her opening her mouth. With this blurred vision, he noticed the neighbour silently going away, picking up clothes on the way out. Why would you do that to me? Marc managed to finally say. His questions seemed to have irritated her even more. Because I can, she kept shouted. But why? What have I done to you? Marc, have you looked at a mirror lately? If you haven't, let me tell you. And she busted out insulting him by telling him he is not a man enough and how many she has been screwing with. Marc was standing in a total trance. Physically present, but his mind was not there. Tears kept running from his eyes when her next sentence got him back. By the way, I threw away all of your fucking brochures today. When Marc raised his eyes up terrified, she screamed. And I am divorcing you.